So, Jez Rutter from JRP Solutions. You've been obliged to do this thing called ESOS, whether you've wanted to or not. Listening to previous discussions, that seems very much the case. People seem to have mixed views. So my advice probably is to take and make the best of the process that there currently exists. I'm going to talk to you a bit about why ESOS is only the beginning, how to create a holistic energy plan, ideas on how to implement energy projects, the importance of engaging people in the process, and thinking ahead in terms of your energy strategy. It's a lot to cover in 10 minutes, so please get in touch with us afterwards if you need anything, or put your questions in the question and answer session at the end. Firstly, a very quick introduction to JRP Solutions credentials to show that we know what we're talking about. We're a national organisation working since 1999 for organisations large and small in both public and private sector, but specialising in industry. JRP's personnel are highly qualified and experienced in adding real value to our clients' businesses through managing and actually reducing their energy consumption, with a significant number of real examples of reducing energy consumption by up to 35%. So whatever you know about ESOS, there are 4 key things to remember. As you only need to survey a representative selection of sites, as we've heard, the opportunities to save energy identified could only be a relatively small proportion of what is available. If opportunities identified are not taken through into delivered improvement projects, then the whole process will have cost you money rather than saved you money, which does seem rather a shame. But really, ESOS is just the beginning of the journey and should be only seen as one step towards achieving energy savings. The best approach to creating energy savings is a holistic energy plan. If you don't know where to begin, the Energy Management Standard ISO 50001 is a great place to start, as it provides a framework of requirements which we'll come back to. If this seems like a daunting task, don't forget you don't have to do this all at once, which most organisations seem to think it's either 50001 or ESOS. Sure, beginning with ESOS, but you can then subsequently deliver 50001 components in stages. You can use the building blocks of the standard and implement these progressively, starting with the areas that give the biggest return on investment. If you'd like more information on this, you can download a handout at the end of the webinar, and a more detailed 15-page handout will be available on request. So the suggestion is to use these building blocks and put together your own specific site or custom company-specific 2 to 3 year plan that suits your business, which should encompass both technical and behavioural projects. And don't stop looking for new projects. Encourage others to do this as well, and ensure that a pipeline of improvement projects is created. When looking for ways to save energy, there is a tendency to look at facilities services and processes, but behavioural change is absolutely critical to achieving results, as we'll demonstrate. Just to show how significant behavioural change can be, I'll use this example of a client of ours that implemented a 480k LED lighting improvement project about a year ago, and have now achieved a demonstrated 7.5% reduction in site consumption from that single project. The same client, though, has then invested just 1/10 of this amount in energy training and achieved the same verified savings, which has been confirmed using IPMVP. So it's an absolute figure taking account of everything. I've talked about the building blocks of ISO 50001, but what are they? Ultimately, there are 7 beneficial operational aspects to a holistic energy management approach. Ideally, you should start by developing a policy as part of a wider plan where the key driver is the more efficient use of energy. You need to quickly move towards identifying both technical and behavioural projects, implement training programs, fixing targets and objectives, using data to better understand and make decisions about energy use, and most importantly, ensure you will later be in a position to measure the results. However, I said ideally you do all of these things. As I've intimated, you can also cherry-pick elements that will lead to the biggest benefit, which in turn will justify moving on to the next element. Before you start implementing energy-saving projects, you need to ensure that you have the answers to some important questions first. For projects listed by a lead assessor, do you understand how accurate the costs and savings are for later putting into business cases? Is further work still required, for instance, to clarify precise quotations and confirm what rigour has been in the energy savings estimates? Is there clarity of prioritisation of projects across sufficient of the estate? At the outset, my strong recommendation would be not to mix technical and behavioural projects in terms of a timeline. And how do you know, without a holistic approach to all projects, whether you're optimising your capital spend? That's assuming you do have a capital budget. If you don't have a capital budget, you can still develop and propose a bundle of realistic projects. Using a selection, I would suggest that if you're in this position, you show proof of projects by using real case studies from your own or more likely from elsewhere. There are a lot of them. Use the same financial approach as if you did have a budget. Make a case study for an energy project pilot. Be in a position to prove the benefits achieved. And after 3 to 6 months, present findings to senior personnel and request a CapEx fund for the next tranche of projects. And then you can continue to optimise and publicise. If you do have a CapEx budget, then a suggested approach is to develop energy business cases, ensuring robust projects are chosen first. Choose the projects with the biggest impact and visibility. Where appropriate, use life cycle costing. As Donald indicated, this isn't always necessary. And implement a bundle of projects at the same time. And for the financial business case, present it as the FD would want to see it. In other words, not too much technical detail. And I turn to engaging stakeholders in the process, of which, of course, the FD is one. And the suggestion would be to start with senior staff members. Almost get in the car yourself and take responsibility for driving the program yourself, asking for relevant backing. Ensure a program that contains improvements from multiple sources. Show through case studies the art of the possible, and if possible, roll out as a pilot in one factory or a part of a factory to prove the case, which makes everything much more accountable and meaningful to the senior people. If you haven't opted for ISO 50001 this time round, then the good news is there's plenty of time to achieve certification before the next round, or progress via part implementation each year rather than one big bang. I would also suggest going into more detail identifying projects. Our experience is showing that many organisations are doing the minimal, but at the end of the day, you get out what you put in. So in summary, I'd say there are 5 key messages that I'd like to leave you with today. The first is to use ISO 50001 as a framework as part of a holistic energy plan. ESOS is only a small part of the picture. Give the budget holder information in his or her language. Behaviour is a key to achieving savings, particularly at the outset to get momentum. And importantly, keep the project hopper fed. Thank you very much.